Some stories are buried in the ground, and others are hidden in the pages of history. I'm Rob Rizzo, the History Digger, and this is the Digging History Show. In each episode, we unearth relics, explore forgotten people and places, and reveal the stories that still echo through time. We also dig into the tools and techniques that help treasure hunters succeed, from research to recovery. Whether it's discoveries beneath our feet or the mysteries history left behind, the past is waiting, and we are here to uncover it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello, welcome to the Digging History Show. I'm Rob Rizzo, but you know what? This is not my normal studio. I'll explain that in a minute, but let me go ahead and do a sound check. Can you guys all hear me okay? Let me know in the chat. I'll explain why I am asking that question in a moment. So, hopefully you can hear me here. Just let me know. Give me a thumbs up, a yes, a thumbs down, a thumbs up, that kind of thing. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Scott. Well, I'm on the road. You know, maybe you saw the thumbnail for this, but this is actually what I've kind of called a metal detecting road trip. A road trip. That's right. And I've actually been on the road here for, gosh, I don't know. I think it's almost 2 weeks. I had left Wisconsin, and I'm going to tell you, when I left, we live on a lake, you know, in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. The lake was actually frozen, and there were people ice fishing. That's right, ice fishing. We sometimes refer to that sport as ice drinking. It could be ice fishing, ice drinking. It depends. But my first destination, I actually headed to South Carolina, where I metal detected with my good friend Brian White. Now, some of you may have seen, I popped a few reels up about that hunt. He's got some awesome permissions. We went out to one of his permissions. I was swinging the Legend 2, which I'm going to talk more about tonight, and he was swinging a variety of different machines over the day. But what a great opportunity, first of all, to get out of the weather. And you know, I think that first opportunity where I hit like 60 degrees, I mean, oh my goodness, it was awesome. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the road trip. I'm going to talk about my wheels there, the History Digger Mobile. That's a Class B RV. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But I want to pop over to the chat, and I've already said hello to some of you. So I'm going to kind of pick up where I left off in the comments. I wasn't sure how many people were going to join tonight. There's still people that are traveling back from Digstock. It's been a pretty heavy metal detecting week. So who do we got here? Bells, Connie, so nice to finally meet you at Digstock. What a pleasure. I wish I could have talked with you more. Barb, thank you for joining. Barb Dirt Pirate. Awesome, Barb. How are things going? Portage Digger. Digstock, baby. Yep, and Teresa the Treasure Hunter is there. Old Pilon. Thank you guys all for joining at Buried Treasure 116. Awesome. Thanks for being here tonight. Hey, do me a favor. Let me know where you guys are dialing in from. This is the time of the year where, I mean, the weather could be all over the place. So maybe you can kind of share some of the sunshine and rub it in, or share some of the woes if the weather is bad where you all are. Ricky Bennett from Georgia. Thanks for joining, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, Bells, it was fun, wasn't it? It was a really good time. Michael and C Relic Hunter. Hey, Claudia, gosh, boy, you sure got home. Good to see you. And A Digger. I'm sure I'm missing a few folks. Dirt Devil Detectin'. Awesome, folks. Yeah, it was a good time. Oh, and of course, who else do we have here? Connor. Connor. I actually got a chance to meet Connor's dad. I've met him once before. I spent some time with him, and Connor and I just bumped into a field. Let me think here. It was Saturday morning, and they had just opened up a new field that day that had been closed the previous day. They were doing some trenching, and I was really excited. And I found a whole lot of nothing on that field, um, but it was still a good time. Good time. Okay, so we got some folks here in the Midwest in Indiana, and yeah, my friend Jeff here, who you can tell by his name, Metal Detecting Wisconsin. I wish we could have detected a little bit more together. Jeff came down with David Rose, Full Metal Digger, and Tim Blank, Ill Digger, and those guys actually had some nice finds. I was only able to join up with them for one morning, but um, gosh, Jeff, let me know when I'm coming back to. The wife is at home holding down the fort. I'm going to be on the road. I'll explain where I'm going here next, but I'm hoping you're telling me that it's starting to warm up in Wisconsin. So yeah, so anyway, let me talk a little bit about this road trip here. If you guys are not familiar with, in the RV world, they have different size RVs. Those big things that are like the size of a bus are called Class A's. The RVs where, part of the RV extends over top of the cab, where the driver and the passenger sit. Those are called Class C's. And these things that are the size of like a van, almost like an Amazon van, um, these are these are considered Class B's, Class B vans. And the wife and I retired, gosh, almost 5 years ago, and when I did so, we picked one of these up. Had never thought about doing this before, you know, but we picked up this RV, and the nice thing about Class B's, which by the way, I'm inside right now. I'm actually inside my van, and I am using a Starlink Mini to connect to Wi-Fi, and I'm using just a virtual backdrop. But I'm sitting on my couch in the van that converts into a bed. But Class B's are just like a regular RV, except they're much smaller. And I have everything in here: a fridge, a freezer, a convection oven, microwave, a sink, shower, a toilet, TV, um, everything you can think of. And I have a lithium battery that is powered both by a solar panel on the top, but also there's a second alternator under my hood, right? So I could sit here, which by the way, I am in Rocky Mountain, North Carolina. I'm still pretty close to Digstock, and I'm in the parking lot of a Cracker Barrel. I'm doing what's called cracker barreling, and you can stay here if you have an RV. Cracker Barrel is generous enough to let RVers spend the night here. But I could sit here for 4 days before my battery would run down. And that second alternator underneath my hood, if I'm driving for about 90 minutes, that thing is completely charged up. Okay. So I have two different tanks. They're called a black tank and a gray tank. You can kind of guess which is which, but the gray tank, of course, holds your dishwater, your shower water, and the black holds the waste from the toilet, that kind of a thing. But what a great vehicle to go out and cruise the country. So as I said, Brian had invited me down. I started down in South Carolina. I wish I had a little bit more time. I've Tim Chipkin Trash invited me to detect with him. I'm not going to be able to make it up there, but these are the perfect vehicles. And I had I'll talk about Digstock in a minute, but I think I have 5 detectors with me, 3 tables, like fold up tables, all kind of clothes, equipment, and everything packed in this van. So I'm ready to head out. But I'd be curious if any of you have an RV. Barb, I saw your comment. You mentioned that you have one. I think Pamela, you have one, if I recall correctly. You were telling me that you and your husband, I think, do a little bit of RVing. And to answer the question, the Starlink that I have is what's called a Starlink Mini. Okay, there are two of them from my understanding. There's the first generation was a bigger one. This is almost the size of like a laptop. And, I have the plan. I pay a little bit more for like unlimited data, but they have a plan where it's a little less expensive and you get enough to cruise around and watch a couple movies or two before you hit the threshold. But given that I'm live streaming, um, I have the unlimited plan, but it's absolutely great. The only thing you have to do sometimes is move it around a little bit just to make sure that you have a signal, a connection, an unobstructed connection to the satellites, you know. And some people will use these in their home and then take them on the road with you. But because I do travel with my wife sometimes, I mean, we have security cameras at home where we need internet there as well. But as I said, she is not with me on this trip. Now, Claudia, I understand you are going to be bringing your RV to show me. Is that correct? So I think you brought the big one to Digfest, if I recall. That last one. So, oh, that's pretty cool, Rick. Yeah, they're, you know, the way these vans are sold, some people will buy the chassis, and if they're handy, they'll go ahead and build it themselves. In other cases, what I did is I purchased this from Coachman, and companies like Winnebago, they actually operate as what are called upfitters, where they'll go ahead and build out, the van for you. And if you're at all interested, we're going to primarily talk metal detecting here in a little bit, but I have a second YouTube channel. It's called Beyond the Adventure. And the reason for that name, this is the model of this van. It's called a Coachman Beyond. So it's a little play off of the model. But Coachman buys the chassis from Ford, and then there's a variety of different layouts, bed styles and configurations on that they do on the inside. You can check that out. But yes, somebody had asked, I think it was Bell's. I am going to the Show Me Hunt. I'm looking forward to it. I wasn't planning on going, and I was listening to Quarter Hoarder, Jason's live stream, and Mitch and his wife came on, and I have to tell you, I talked with a few other people. I've heard so many good things about this hunt that yeah, I am going to go. Now I'm going to be back in Wisconsin for a stretch, and then I'll head down. I think it's only 7.5 hours for me, so I'll come down. I'm not sure if I'll make that Friday night hunt in that park, but I am looking forward to it, and we'll see. So I'm not going to put a booth or up or anything like that. I'm just coming, as a regular participant. I'm looking forward to just being a participant in that hunt. But just to finish off the conversation about the RV, yeah, I've had this. I think we've had this now for almost 4 years. I think 4 years, and I think I have about 55,000 miles on this. We've been to Florida several times. We've done some road trips across the United States. Utah was one of our favorite places because there's like 5 national parks there that you can like quickly, visit. We've been up to Nova Scotia. We've also gone out west. In fact, I had an opportunity to, on my last trip in October, we went to Yellowstone, Idaho, Wyoming, Oregon. I actually was able to hook up and meet Teresa and her husband Kevin, I believe is his name, and that was pretty cool. So Teresa, you have been there to Show Me, and you were going to be at Show Me, correct, Teresa? I think you told me you were going. Larry, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. All right, cool. Bells, we'll see you there. Yeah, Dirt Devil, this is in the van world, you really only have like 3 chassis choices. So most of these Class Bs in the United States, they're either built on a Ram van, which could be a little underpowered. They've made some improvements. It's now 10 speed. It has all the safety stuff, or a Mercedes Sprinter. there's some advantages. The Mercedes Sprinter comes in different lengths. However, it's diesel. It's a little more difficult to get repaired, even just to get something like an oil change. And then, of course, the Transit, which I love because it's gasoline. I have dualies on this thing, and I get, it depends if the wind's blowing on my back, I can get like 15, 16 miles per gallon in some cases, as crazy as that is. Portage Digger, my understanding is XP is sending Merrill to the Show Me event, but I don't know if he's having a table, a booth, or what. XP did not have a booth at Digstock, unfortunately. So let's see here. Taking the B to Alabama this weekend awesome. For a hunt wow, that sounds cool. That sounds really fun. But yeah, these things are fun. I'll tell you, if I could, give one piece of advice to anybody about an RV, when I bought this, I was pretty sure, hey, if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I'm going to get something new that has a warranty and so on. And I'll tell you, having now had this for a while, I wouldn't hesitate to buy a used one. You do have to manage your expectations with the RVs, because they are a house on wheels. Okay, you got to remember that. So things will break and so on, but generally we've had, honestly, knock on wood, no issues. But we've enjoyed it. And hey, Mark, thanks for joining, buddy. How are you? Nokta Mark's on the line. But yeah, so anyway, it has been fun, and I will be bringing this to the Show Me hunt as well. I'm going to be traveling down there. But let's shift gears for a minute. But just on that note, if any of you do have questions, comments about the RVs, put them in the chat. You can email me at thehistorydigger@gmail.com. It's really awesome. I'll just say, with Class Bs, with these smaller, the vans and stuff, they're really nice because they're agile. You can go, you can move. The bigger vehicles, Claudia, as you probably know, they're harder to park, but of course they have the advantage of space. So it's almost like detecting. Depending on the kind of detecting you do, it's going to inform the type of machine, whether it's, intermediate, advanced. Well, depending on the type of camping you're going to do, it's going to inform the type of RV that you may choose to purchase. But we are pretty pleased with that. So yeah, let's move on to Digstock. So I see some of you were at Digstock. You're already commenting. Let me just share one thing with you. I was a little disappointed, not in Digstock so much, but in myself, because we attempted to do a live stream, a live on the spot broadcast from Digstock, and unfortunately my microphone had an issue. I was using a DJI mini mic, and for some reason my laptop mic was fighting it. Both of them were on, but hopefully we'll get that worked out. It was wireless. I may just use a wired mic next time, but I don't know. But we really did have a great time, and I'll pop up a few pictures here from Digstock, and we'll starting in the top left here. So my booth's in the background with the black tent, the red tent there. You see Michael and Brian. Michael's actually autographing an Excalibur shovel, which I think is going to be given away. So I don't know who this gentleman was. He came by my tent as well, but I think he works with Casey, and or is giving one of Casey's shovels away. But gosh, there were so many people, as you can see in the top right photo. I posted a short reel, and it's on my Instagram, the History Digger Instagram page, my Facebook page, but I tried to share with you what it was like when they kind of opened up the gates. I think, Jeff, you told me there was a 2-mile line of cars that came filing in, and everybody parked and then descended upon the registration tent. It was crazy. But I will say, I think it was pretty well organized. What do you guys think in terms of let me just ask in terms of like event organization. Was this your first Digstock? Had you been to one before? I'd like to kind of talk with you and hear what you thought, for those that were there, about the event overall and the event organization. Say hi to Beneath the Bluegrass there. Brian, this was your first Digstock. You had a good time, you said. Yeah, Portage Dig. It was really windy and really hot that first day, and I had some water bags tying my tent down, and let me just say, Nokta did an outstanding job. I'm not just saying that, Mark, because you're on here, but they had a really nice tent, some really nice giveaways, a super long line. Quest, it was nice to see Quest there. Minelab was there. Steph was there representing Minelab. They too had a test garden set up. American Digger magazine, they were present. I'm missing somebody. There was somebody else there. Garrett, of course. Steve Moore. Steve Moore attended from Garrett. And there was a range of influencers, as most of you that were there know. KG and Ringy, Quarter Hoarder, Brad Martin, Green Mountain, Southern Relic Adventure Team, Steph, Tangaway. It was really cool to kind of meet all of those folks, as well as many, detectorist friends that I've made over the years. So, yeah, I think I had shared with Matt. I said, Matt, if I could offer you like one constructive piece of criticism, I think that's even too hard. Was if there's any way you could have just a faster registration period. So there were, I think about 15, 20 minutes people were in line in that hot sun. But what they had done, they had a QR code. I think he told me the average check-in only took something like 30 seconds, but when you have like 700 people, do the math. It's so, what I appreciate is they are, interested in continually improving that kind of a thing. I'm going to show a short video of the fines, at least the fines table as of Saturday night. If you guys are not familiar with what they do, Digstock encourages people to come to the tent, check in their good finds, and when they do so, they receive a free ticket for a raffle item. It's often a detector or something like that. What's nice about that, I mean, this particular Digstock, candidly, I did not have much luck. Some buttons, harmonica reeds, Wheaties. I mean, nothing to write home about. That's okay. I have had great Digstock finds. But then you come to the tent and you're wondering, is it me? Did I have the wrong settings on my detector for, that land? And you walk into the tent and you see, oh, there's a Confederate button right there. And, and it helps you just kind of level set. So, you're not going to find it if you don't put your coil over it. This was, I think, something like 7,000 acres. And there were indeed some good finds. But it surprisingly, it seemed big, but, there were plenty of opportunities. So, for example, Connor and I just bumped into one another. We were texting one another, and I think it was Saturday morning. We just bumped into one another on the field. Like, hey, I was hoping we would meet up, that kind of thing. Yeah, but it goes so fast, and And truthfully, I did not detect on Sunday. I had some maintenance work to do on the van and some maintenance work to do on Rob Rizzo. I truthfully ran out of clothes. I was sweating so much. It was so much hotter than I thought. I brought more winter clothes. I literally had to go do some laundry. But that's just the way. That's just the way it is. Yeah, Barb, that's what they told me. I asked them, like, how many people did you scan in? And I thought that 700 was attendees and some of the manufacturers. But if I recall correctly, I think they told me it was 675, 700 QR codes that they had scanned in. So, yeah. Hey, yeah, appreciate it. If you give me a thumbs up on this, it'll just help other people find the video and that kind of a thing. Trying to do this live stream on a more regular basis here. So we're going to try to do this Tuesdays. excuse me, Tuesdays at 6:30 on a more regular basis, and you all will be the judge as to how we'll do this, what will change, and how long we'll continue. Jeff as I said, Jeff is a glutton for punishment. If you guys don't know Jeff, Metal Detecting Wisconsin, he will be on an upcoming episode of my show. But Jeff is a retired firefighter, and I really like what he does with his equipment. He has a souped up detector, fully customized shaft from Steve's Shaft, I believe. Jeff, you swing a Deus 2, if I'm not mistaken. And he just does a great job both at his equipment, but he's an incredible researcher. And we've had some great hunts, and I'm eager for him to share with you, especially some of his copper culture, some of his copper points that he's found up in Wisconsin. We have a lot of natural float copper that the glaciers brought in. And, even though he and I both detect over in England and we find stuff from like 50 BC, these are even older. These are even older. They've had some of their finds dated by the Milwaukee Museum, an estimated date, that type of thing. But he will be on an upcoming show. But let me try to do this. I want to try to pop up this video here from Digstock. It's only about a minute long, but I want you to see, for those of you that didn't attend, what that finds table look like. Let's give it a try. Here we go.
It's got about 90 years of experience.
Well, there we go. Yeah, and as I said, that was just Saturday night. A lot of people will wait to bring their finds in until later. So, um, pretty cool stuff. And you can see everything's kind of labeled there. It's ID'd. But, it was a good time. I had an opportunity, small opportunity, but I did get to detect with not just Michael and Brian, but in the top left of the picture there is my good friend Gary Gross, Double G Digs. Gary was a guest on one of my shows, one of my episodes a few weeks ago, and he told this incredible story about how he got called to try to find some coins. This gentleman remembered burying like 20 some years ago. He thought they were silver, and it turns out there were 11 1-ounce gold coins that Gary found. But Gary will be back on the show. He's a recurring co-host, if you will, as has been Tim Blank. But you will see more of Gary on an upcoming episode. These are the machines I left Wisconsin with. So on the way down, I hit a permission. I've put up a few reels already. I'm learning the Legend 2. We'll talk about that in a moment. And I have a Legend 1 with me as well that I'm using for some comparison videos. I did bring the new WSAST headphones. I have shared, I don't particularly, care for these. I like the original audio better, but I thought some folks might be interested in at least hearing that. So I had those available, and a few people did ask to try them out. And my Deus 2, which is updated, by the way, to 4.1. I'll touch on that. And I did have an opportunity on, gosh, what was it here? I think it was Friday morning to swing the Manicore. There was not a lot of iron in this field, and I was curious. I've heard some things about Manicore's depth versus some other machines, so I was kind of curious about that. But those are the machines that I had available that I talked about and talked to people with. And I just one other comment here. The fields were just beautiful. And you're talking to a Yankee here. I'm a northern guy, and although I've detected cotton fields before, it's kind of cool. I had to take a take a moment, scoop up a handful of the cotton and the pods, and of course I sent it to my grandkids to share with them. But boy, I tell you, detecting in those rows of stalks, whether they're cotton or corn, you definitely are advantaged by using, like that Legend 2 ships. I like how it ships with two coils, one of which is a small elliptical. In this case, I was using the 9-inch Manicore. Um, or, on a field like this, using that HF2 elliptical at a lower frequency. It's just so nice to get in between those stocks because people are missing things. Okay, when you're in those kind of fields. So let's just take a minute at the chat here. I want to pull up here and okay. People are talking about some of the versions. A lot of discussion about the Deus 2 and which version people are either going to or reverting back to, are most comfortable with. Doesn't surprise me. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Yeah, the interesting thing here, Tim, you're right. You have a lot of people that have maybe only detected for a few times. Some very entry-level machines, and of course we saw the flagship machines there as well. I had a lot of people ask about the Legend 2, just to be honest. Okay, probably the one of the newest machines out there. I think Minelab just released a new Vanquish machine, but I think that there's a lot of people curious, especially the Legend 1 users, about that. But you'll see everything, including some really old machines. So I'm backing up for a minute. That copper point I was telling you about that Jeff found, 2000 to 5000 BC. Yeah, just incredible how old that is. Beneath the Bluegrass says corn stalks make me dizzy at times. I hear you. So let me just end here, by saying, Digstock, I've had better hunts. This was a lot of land, a lot of people. I think some good finds. I think I've been to maybe one Digstock that was better. I have said many times, though, you gotta have to align your expectations to these hunts. There will be good finds often at these natural hunts like this, but not necessarily by everybody. And there's also a wonderful opportunity to make new friends, meet old friends, win some prizes, detect property, corn, cotton fields, stuff like that you've never had an opportunity to do before. So, but I think I would give them definitely high marks for organization, really well done, and and I definitely think there were some good finds. They just didn't make it into my pouch, not this time. But that's okay. That's part of the experience as well. So tomorrow, I am actually headed to a private permission in Staley, North Carolina. I'll be using the Legend 2, and I shared this with a lot of people that were coming up to my booth, that when I go on a trip like this, I actually mail out letters along my route in advance, okay? And I'm not going to, I've talked several times online about how I do that, the process, but if any of you want copies of my letters or my approach, how I identify these houses along the route, just send an email to, the history digger at gmail.com, okay? And I'll be happy to send that to you, okay? But what was nice is I actually lined up 4 permissions. 2 I've already hit, 1 I'm going to hit tomorrow, and I'm just not sure about the 4th one. I may actually have to, unfortunately, bail on it. That's my issue, scheduling, not theirs. Just the way the route works. But so I'm excited about that, and I'll be heading out. I'll be pulling out a Cracker Barrel tomorrow morning. So okay, I do have to rub it in here a little bit. I did invite Michael to join me, but he has a previous commitment. My feelings are not hurt, Michael. I understand. Your wife is more important than metal detecting. So just keep telling yourself that, and you might believe it eventually. Just keep repeating it. No, seriously, no worries, Michael. We'll do it again sometime. Oh, okay, Mark, I'm going to hold you to this. We'll see. Mark says, you swing that legend too, and I promise you more finds in your pouch. Um, we'll see if that's true tomorrow. Hey, they got to be there, Mark, right? For that to work. I'll tell you, there were some nice finds made by folks swinging the legend. I think Steven had a barber, and Claudia, I'm pretty sure you were swinging the legend most of the time, if not the whole time too. Scott, there you go. Did you have any nice finds, Scott? Fess up, let us know. Um, yeah, I'm starting to get the hang of it. I really am. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But that's where I am headed tomorrow. And then if we look at my road trip, let's go back to my map here. Okay, so I've got the permission dig tomorrow. And then what's this thing over here? The VA Veterans Hunt. The VA Veterans Hunt. So let me tell you, don't know if he made it onto the stream tonight or not, but Wake Country Metal Detecting. I've been in this Facebook group for a while. I honestly cannot remember when or why I joined, but I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, and I post and respond and so forth. And the gentleman here above me, Ryan Ward, put a post up some time ago, and he asked if there were any veterans in the group. And I responded, yeah, I'm a vet. I'm an Army veteran. I served for 4 years. I went to ROTC and got commissioned and got out as a captain. And I tell people the two best career decisions I think I honestly ever made. One was to join the military, and the second one was to get out of the military. It was a great early experience. I loved it. Great leadership, great people. Absolutely loved it. But I thought he might have some questions about, I don't know, veterans or something. So I responded, several other people did, and then about 3 weeks later, we all got an invite to a private veterans hunt as a thank you. As a way the club just wants to reach out to its veteran members to say thank you. And let me tell you, this is nice property. It's colonial, I believe. There's some Civil War structures. There's some slave quarters on the property as well. So I am actually bringing some military challenge coins. I'm donating the Legend 1, and Nokta is donating an accessory pack. It's a box of accessories, I think. I actually haven't seen it. It was sent directly to Ryan. That things like, if you have a young detector or whatever, detectorist, they may come along with you. But those are being donated, and my wife restores antique quilts. So we're donating a restored 100-year-old quilt to the property owner, along with I'm donating 2 silver American Eagles. So little did Ryan know he was thanking vets, but I'm thanking him by doing that. But he's been a pleasure to work with, and I'm really looking forward to going there and spending a little bit more time with him. I think a few of the people were actually at Digstock. Somebody pointed them out to me, and I didn't have a chance to talk with them. But this is where I'll be headed next. Okay, but I'm excited because I'll probably have another video tomorrow, a separate video. But I've been working on a video with regard to the Legend 1 and Legend 2, and I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with this machine. Now, and I'm coming from a position where, honestly, I did not know much about the Legend 1. I was watching it from afar. I heard about all the different updates, the adjustments in the shaft, and so on. And when this was announced, there were a couple of things that caught my attention. There are some innovations that Nokta is bringing. Definitely some changes to the ergonomics, to the processor, to the software, but it caught my attention. So when I had an opportunity to get one from Nokta, I jumped on it, and I've taken it out a few times. As I said, I've posted a few reels, but I know one of the key questions I've seen out there You know, if you are a Nokta user, maybe a triple score, or a Legend 1 user, I think one of the first things those people want to know is what's the difference? You know, did you just tweak this machine, Nokta? Or is there a step change here? And then I'm sure this is going to catch the attention of maybe some new users or maybe some users who are looking to trade up, you know, or over from another machine. So in this video, I'm going to be talking, first of all, you know, one of the first things we got to talk about is price. Not just is there a difference between the one and the two, but there's a difference between the two and some other machines that I think it competes with. But one of the things you're going to hear me talk about, I really like, I'm all about design thinking and user design, okay, and how intuitive or not these menus are. And this is probably one of the biggest changes I think that Nokta brought is they really simplified things, made it easier. One of which is they have a quick menu here to the left of this arrow, as well as an advanced menu, which you'll see over on the right. They do different things, but this is one of the ways that they've adjusted things. And I talk about that in the video. And I don't cover all of these in the video, but I point out a few of the key differences. One big one of which is weight. Weight. I mean, we all have different priorities. You know, why we swing a certain machine. What might be important to me is not important to you, and vice versa. But weight is normally in one of the top, you know, the top five. Performance, obviously, for me. Portability, how easy does it break down? I know those of you that hunt in a lot of iron fields, you're really interested in separation. If you're a beach detector, and you know, so on and so on. So what I'll be talking about is some of the key things here that Nokta's changed. One big thing for somebody that's coming from a Legend 1 is they've moved from a 60 target ID scale, okay, to a 99, and some people get, oh, that's great. Well, it very well could be. I like the larger scale, but I'm going to also say it depends, because if all that, you know, all that we have now is the targets bunched up, compressed, you know, together, you know, that's not necessarily the case. But hopefully I'm seeing some good distinction. You know, does a quarter ring up differently than a modern quarter, than a silver quarter, a dime versus a silver dime? And also, how well does that, you know, how stable is that target ID? I'll just say, you know, there's many things I like about the Manicore, okay, and the Deus too, but the Manicore target IDs are a little fluttery. I don't think they're as stable. They don't lock on as they could. But also, does, you know, how good is it at depth? So there's a lot to unpack here, but I really like how they've moved to the 99 target ID scale. They've increased the number of tones. This is a much faster processor, bigger display. I've learned that, you know, although the shaft is fully carbon fiber, and if you just look in the manuals, they appear to be the same length. The reality is the Legend 2 is a little longer. So I know some of you, some not me, but have to buy that extendable shaft. You know, just because you know, someone like you, Mike, you're so tall. But yeah, a big one for me in my top five is audio, and I put a little reel up showing how the Legend 2 was really good at what I call the edge of the signal. And this is one of the things I really like about my Deus 2. It has very informative audio. And as you start to get, like if you're doing the wiggle method and you're pulling back, you start to get to the edge of the signal. That last edge, it's so telling. And guess what? I'm hearing some of that same information coming out of the Legend 2. I was hearing some iron grunts. Again, I put that up in a short reel. I think I have again in this video as well. So anyway, stay tuned for that. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm going to be swinging the Legend 2 at that Veterans Hunt as well. I'm going to swing over. We're going to talk swing over. See how I did that there? We're going to talk here about the Legend 2, but let's talk also. I want to just check the chat here. and see what some of you, this is a really good one, Scott. So I think the light display was also very handy starting out. Oh. So, there's two parts to that. Is the machine, the display screen backlit, but also are the keypads backlit? That's an improvement that Nokta made. These keypads, not only they're a different type, but the buttons themselves are illuminated as well. And the other small thing, when you charge the Legend 2 versus charge the Legend 1, the Legend 1 just has a tiny little icon and that liquid display screen's very small, 1, 2, 3 bar, They've added a green bright LED light, a charging indicator on the Legend 2. Little things like that. So many other things. Here's another one. It comes with a full-size manual. Okay. Who else does this? I mean, almost all of these folks now, it's a PDF. You have to. The fact that I don't have it here with me. You can flip through this. It's so nice to actually have a hard copy manual. Yeah, here's another one. I mean, I can't even get it all in this conversation. So they've added, when you go into pinpoint mode, which I normally don't use, I use the wiggle method. But this does include a target ID now. And it's a secondary check on your target ID when you're swinging. I'm still not sure I'm going to abandon my wiggle method for that, but that's pretty innovative as well, as is the fact that when you're doing the updates are going to be done from an app and they're wireless. There's not going to be a need to hook up a cable as well. Brian, this is one I just haven't had a chance to test real well, other than on the field you and I hunted. How well does it do in terms of heavy iron separation? I do think it has a much, much faster recovery speed. My only kind of knock, when you turn the machine on and you're using the default settings, that default recovery speed, I think, is set more for depth. I've actually had to bump it up, to maybe 5 or 6 just to get a little faster recovery speed a few times for me. But 99 tones, you can adjust the tone breaks, the tone frequencies, the tone volumes. Turn it on and go, but there's plenty of things here to satisfy the tweakers out there. Okay, I'm trying to move on and I keep we're talking Nokta stuff, but that's okay. Let me see if there's anything else here. Yeah, I hear you. I've read the manual 3 times and plan to read it more. It's amazing the stuff you miss out on, right? Yeah, tone, pitch, tone, volume. I do wish that it had another audio type, not just the different tones. And who knows, maybe we'll see something like that down the road. But wait till you watch this video. Like I said, there's what I'm not doing is like a full menu walkthrough. That's been done, and there's some really good ones out there. Pretectorist has a good one. Brian White, Southern Relic Adventures. Gary Blackwell, Skill School did a really nice one. But I'm trying to point out like the differences. Okay, if you're coming from another machine or coming up from the Legend 1, that's what my video will cover. It's funny. That's funny, Larry. I was running 6 tones as well. I know a lot of people are 2-tone hunters. I like more than 2. Here we go. Some people just 1. Dig it all. If you're a dig it all person, you just need the 1. Okay, so we were talking about how updates on this are hopefully going to be a little easier, just like they are, for example, on your phone. Wireless, done through an app. And several people at Digstock came up to me and asked me about the most current version of firmware for the Deus 2. So I think the day before Digstock XP released firmware version 4.1. And 4.0 was the first software version that enabled the use of these stereo headphones, but there were a few issues that prevented them from being fully compatible. 4.1, if you have a set of stereo headphones, they all work now. And if you don't have a set of stereo headphones, there are some features for those people in this software as well. A big question is, what are they? What are they? In addition, we'll come back to the stereo in a minute, but I want to shout out to Andy Extreme here because Andy put this up. Andy has his own group. He posts in the Deus 2 group as well. But he too saying, hey, what, so, 4.1, I'm not interested in the stereo headphones, or I haven't made a decision yet. Is there anything in there for me? And there are a couple of things here that, yes, you can dig into. One that caught my attention, many people for a while have been complaining that the MI6, remember, you can use the MI6 or MI4 pinpointers either in a paired or unpaired manner. And unfortunately, if you're using it in an unpaired way, there's no way to adjust the volume. But when it's paired to your headphones, you now not only have volume management, but there's also some new audio that they've released as well. Now, again, to be candid, I try to call balls and strikes. I'm not really sure if there's a benefit to me in listening to polyphonic audio on my pinpointer. My pinpointer has a very limited function. I stick it in the hole, I expect it to find something, and I pull it. It's a in and out kind of a thing real fast here. Okay. But nevertheless, there's some stuff there as well, and they've improved some of just I think the pairing stability. There were some issues between pairing these different wireless devices as well. So according to XP, yes, there are some things that are in there for non-stereo users. Now, and remember, there's a line of headphones that XP offers. The back phones, the WS6 module that operates as a second detector, and the XLs, the muffs, which I like. Again, I prefer the traditional original recipe audio. But for those of you that are venturing into the land of stereo, I also wanted to point out there are now a couple programs. Michael Eakers is trying to do a better job, I think, of helping us understand some of the potential use cases for the stereo headphones. If you have a standing permission, you want to go back and try this two-channel thing, high reactivity, low reactivity. I think he's doing a better job of helping us understand what those use cases might be. But he's also updated his Forager program, a custom program, to take advantage of channel morphing. Okay, probably the Morph 1 or Morph 2 settings as well. How many of you have delved into the land of stereo headphones? What are your opinions? What are your thoughts? Let's take a minute and share those. Okay, and we'll pull out a couple other. Oh, this is I'm going to back up to some previous topics here. I'm a little behind in the chat. Yeah, Alan Landau from the Illinois Chicago Dig Fest group, he did put up a really good VDI target ID chart, and he did this a while ago. I was pretty impressed with it. Barb, tell us what you really think, Barb. That's okay, Barb. Hey, I think it's important for manufacturers to hear honest feedback from people. Like I said, I said from day one, I thought they were kind of niche, and I think my prediction is kind of coming true as well. Let's see here, who else? We're talking some screen protectors. I don't know what this is in reference to, 5 but I have to tell you, I love my Ultimate Finds box. I take it with me to England. I just absolutely love it. I think it's great. Somebody asked Mark about the accessories and the app as well. So just back up for a minute. What's really cool is Nokta's also, as an accessory, offering an additional waterproof battery pack and a set of waterproof bone conduction headphones and a 9-inch coil. And you know, the if you look at the shaft between the Legend 1 and the Legend 2, you're gonna see, hey, what's missing from there was a compartment on the Legend 1 where an extra battery presumably attached, but they have a different mechanism, a different system for attaching that, and I'm glad they do, because that cuff is not only adjustable on the Legend 2, but it's removable. So you'll see in my video, in addition to the coil folding sideways, you know, so now you can more easily pack it, okay? The cuff can also simply be completely removed. Yeah, Alan is going to be at the Nokta Hunt. He's going to be running the Nokta ID challenge there as well. Yeah, I think Alicia's going to be there, Jason. See some of the same people there that we saw at Digstock. The Legend 2 headphones you can use the same headphones from the Legend 1. You know, when Southern Relic and we were hunting in South Carolina, at one point I needed to replace the battery in my camera. So I left my detector down, I put it down, it was on, and I walked, gosh, good 60 yards back to my car to get an extra battery. And, you know, I think it was probably 30 yards, 40 yards before my, you know, you kind of forget you're wearing headphones. Well, they unpaired. I thought, oh, darn, you know, I'm gonna have to repair them and everything. So I got my battery out of the car. I walked back probably 30, 40 yards to my detector, and guess what? They just automatically repaired. So I don't know a reason why you would be that far away from your detector, but I think they're comfortable too. I've heard a few people, say that they're actually not comfortable. They're a lot more comfortable to me than the back phones from XP. So far, I do like those, and I'm eager to see what the bone conduction headphones do. That's real simple. You know, when I'm in the water, I don't really care so much about audio. I'm looking for a signal, a good signal, and I am going to probably look at target ID a little bit more. So that was cool. Yeah, some questions, comments about these hunts. You know, with silver being what it is, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a change in these hunts, and we'll see more tokens buried with potential prizes of silver being awarded. I don't know. Digstock was 100% natural this year. There wasn't anything seeded. Oh, thank you so much for mentioning this, Brian. So Friday night, same bat time, same bat channel on the Southern Route channel. There is a Legend 2 giveaway. A Legend 2 giveaway. I think there's already a link to that show up there. And Stephen, Southern Relics, is it, oh gosh, 864? There's two Southern Relics out there, but Stephen, who is a nomad from Nokta, is going to be joining Brian on that show, and some lucky dude or dudette is going to walk away with a Legend 2, a Legend 2. So I think that's going to be a big show. I am going to be treating my brother-in-law to dinner Friday night. That's the night before the Veterans Hunt. So unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to make that one. Oh, let's see what Mark is chiming in here. Yes. So yeah, yeah, that's key that they are aptX. But you know, the fact that, I mean, I think that's pretty cool, Mark, that you can use some other headphones as well. And that it's nice that if you do have the Legend 1, that's not something you do need to worry about. By the way, the other thing I like what Nokta did, I think they simplified the offering. You know, the Legend 2 comes with two coils, this 11-inch and the, is it 8 by 5, the elliptical. Perfect choice, by the way. And the set of headphones. The Pro Packs, I mean, you gave people choices, I suppose that was good, but I think that was a little confusing. I think it's a great offering, you know, and the headphones as well that come with. So I think you guys did a really nice job on that. Hey, Papa Vane, it was so nice to meet you. I think I was bringing over a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that I had made for my friends, and Papa Vane said, "Hey, that sounds like the History Digger's voice. Is that him?" So I was actually humbled that you recognized my voice, Papa Vane. It was great to meet you. to meet you. So, folks, I'm going to pull up here and just remind you about two guests that I have coming up. I'm really excited. I'm really excited about these. So, three guests. So, first of all, we've already had the Digstock event show and Matt Jones and Jessica. But next week, David Rose, some of you might have met him at Digstock, goes by the channel name Full Metal Digger, is going to be my guest. And I will tell you, you can hold me to this, you will be blown away by his finds. He does a lot of detecting in a location where a lot of us don't go, Germany. And he also was one of the very first metal detecting YouTubers, okay, um, out there. And so he's just an incredible gentleman. He's so full of history. You're absolutely going to love him. And that'll be next Tuesday. And then the following week, I am so honored that Giselle Kirale, who is a osteoarchaeologist, let me say that again, osteoarchaeologist. This is somebody who specializes in the removal of human remains. She is going to be on the show, and if you're at all familiar with the Sutton Hoo dig and artifacts, she was involved in the excavation of the incredible Sutton Hoo find in England. She's been featured on Time Team, Digging Britain, and History Hits, on those types of shows where they have to cut and bring in the expert and stuff like that. She is the person they go to. She is incredibly articulate, so charming, and just a joy to listen to. And that one, given that she's overseas, we have a time zone difference. We are going to be doing that on a Saturday. And I got to double check that date. That date has changed. I think it's now the 21st. I will republish the date, but it's going to be a little earlier as well. So that one you're going to want to pay attention to. It's going to be not the normal time. And then after that, of course, we have my good buddy, the Bruce. Bruce does a lot of smaller homes in a very urban area, but it's a very old urban area. He just posted some incredible finds yesterday, and I like what Bruce does. He puts the word out really well. He's been featured on the Milwaukee TV channels, some of the newspapers as well, and he's one of my good friends, the Bruce. And you know what? We met metal detecting. We actually met metal detecting. We've vacationed together. Our wives now know one another, and I just think it's also a great story because I tell people Bruce is one of my best metal detecting finds out there. So I hope you can make that show as well. Okay. Oh, let's take one last look here at the chat. Oh, what are we talking about? Is this the Nokta backpack? I do recall that. That looked pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. I do have the XP 240, and I use it quite a bit. I actually take it over to England with me. Those backpacks are pretty sweet. I will say, with regards to traveling overseas with metal detectors and TSA, they're starting to crack down a little more on, what's a carry-on. And this is also a topic for another day, is do you check or not check? I'm a doobie-doo. I follow all the rules. No lithium batteries are supposed to go in check bags. Now, some people argue over the amplitude and so on of the battery, but I carry all that stuff with me in a carry-on, and often I'll use one of those backpacks or something else to do that with me. But okay, folks. Well, listen, we've been going at it for a while here, about an hour, and I appreciate it. This is a much better audience than I expected this week, given how much detecting and how much traveling we're doing. If you enjoy this, don't forget to hit the like button on the way out. But I so appreciate every single one of you for joining, and for those of you that I did have an opportunity, where we could meet and talk. What a pleasure. That's what the nicest thing about this hobby is meeting these people, sharing the stories, the love of history. So thanks again. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I've got some more guests that I have yet to announce that will be coming up. But in the meantime, again, thanks so much. If any of you have any questions about anything we talked about tonight, feel free to email me. And stay tuned for some upcoming videos from my road trip, from the veterans dig, from my permission dig tomorrow as well. So take care, folks. Happy digging.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?